just privileged to have you all here today. I am a former United Way professional. I worked in McHenry County, Illinois for 5 years as a CEO of the United Way of Greater McHenry County. I left the United Way at a time when I thought I was moving into full retirement, and about a year later found my way to United Way Next. And really the rest is history. So I'm starting my 4th year and just very proud of the work that we do and this community that we're building together. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ivy and Kirsten, my teammates, to introduce themselves next. And then we'll come around the corner and have you all introduce yourselves as well. So just so you know that that's coming. Go ahead, Ivy.
Well, many of you probably already know me because I'm usually in your inbox, but my name is Ivy and I'm the Marketing Communications and Events Manager at United Way Next. I also worked at Sioux Empire United Way in South Dakota, but most of you will probably figure out that I will connect with you on some location that you're in because I was a digital nomad and have worked in 32 different states at this point. And then just a couple of housekeeping items before I hand it over to Kirsten. For today's session, you are more than welcome to add any questions that you have into the chat, and then we'll be able to kind of answer them. You can unmute yourself when the time has come, and we can kind of talk about them. If you want to send any to be anonymous, feel free to send them to me and I'll drop them in the chat anonymously for you. And then if you are uncomfortable being on camera in the recording, we can always pause it for you if you need. And then after the session, I'll be sure to send everyone a copy of the slides, the recording, and any resources mentioned. And then if you need any accommodations, just let me know. You should have full capability to turn on closed captions and possibly access the transcript and things like that. If you need anything, just let me know. Otherwise, just a quick shout out to our event programming sponsor, FrontStream, and now I'll hand it over to Kirsten.
Thanks, Ivy. Hello, I am Kirsten, and I see a lot of familiar names because I have emailed, I think, most everyone on this call, so great to put some faces to those names. I am the Membership and Engagement Coordinator with United Way Next, and I am a former local United Way CEO. I'm calling in from Illinois here today, so great to see you all. Thank you for joining.
And next we'll have Paul introduce himself.
Wonderful. Thank you. And welcome, everybody. My name is Paul DeBassio, and I have the pleasure this year of serving as the board chair for United Way Next. I spent 20 years in the United Way network, both at the local level as well as national and global level. So many years at United Way Mass Bay in Boston, but then also for United Way Worldwide. And in that role, I was the EVP for basically the fundraising side of things. So that's my background within the United Way. I became a member of United Way Next while I worked at United Way Worldwide. So I'd been a member before retiring. And at that time, it was the United Way Retiree Association. And so it was really just retired CEOs. And when I left United Way, they had reached out. I wanted to maintain my membership. And we began talking about how do we expand this beyond just retired CEOs. And so I'm really excited that this has now become United Way Next. It's about what's next in your career. So it's for all United Way professionals and leaders as they move on to what's next, that we can stay connected to the passion that I think drove us all to work for United Way in the first place. So I'm excited to be a member. I'm excited to be on the board and sharing this year's, which is the 35th year of the United Way Retiree Association / United Way Next. And I welcome you all as members, and happy to be in the conversation with you all today.
Thanks, you, Paul. And then Anne isn't here today, but you will have a chance to get to know her a little bit better because we are publishing a Q&A with her this afternoon that'll go out in the newsletter. So you'll get to hear a little bit more about her and her vision as 2026 board chair.
So this is the opportunity we have to get to know all of you better, and would love for you to consider just sharing, and happy to kind of popcorn it around the room if that's okay with all of you, for you to just share your name, where you're calling in from today, and what inspired you to participate in today's event. So we want to be sensitive to some folks don't love to be called on and asked to share, but if there's someone who wants to volunteer to start, we can just kind of go around the room. Tom, I see you're unmuted, so I'm not.
I was going to say I'll throw myself on the conversational grenade for everyone and get things started.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Bernard. I'm here in Western Massachusetts. This summer I wrapped up a tenure as president and CEO of Berkshire United Way. In that role, I also co-chaired with Michelle Hantman from New Bedford our state association. We took it over from Tim Garvin, who'd done it for a million years. I'm sure a lot of people here know Tim. Worked really closely, Paul, with our friends at Mass Bay, which was really rewarding. And then through the state association, served on the council of council states as well. So this summer I made the decision to step away, but the work of the United Way system is still near and dear to my heart. Michelle was the one who suggested that I look into United Way Next, and so as I said in the chat, doing a career rewiring. To love that phrase that I stole from a colleague. I'm really interested in staying connected with the work of the United Ways, and also through some professional development I'm doing. I'm just wrapping up with the current class of the Interim Executives Academy, and there's a lot of United Way presence there as well. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm going to pass the baton to Robin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Robin McKean. I worked at United Way of Santa Cruz County for 4 years, 2012 to 2016, wearing a lot of different hats. Started out in an administrative and executive assistant role, learned everything that was going on at our United Way and in our community, and then moved into the community impact team. And did a lot of work around homelessness and EFSP and 211 and all kinds of stuff with resources. And now I'm part of a collective of consultants at Impact Launch, and the majority of us are United Way alum. And we got to meet with Carole a couple of weeks ago, and we're involved with the Consultants Collaborative. And I hadn't heard about United Way Next until just like last month. So I'm really excited that it exists. We work with a lot of United Ways. We want to do more work with United Ways. We do values-based leadership, strategic planning, capacity building, leadership coaching, that kind of thing. And did I answer all the questions? I think that's probably good. And I'll pass it over to Jason.
Yeah, hi, everyone. My name is Jason Bethke. I am currently based out of Richmond, Virginia. My United Way trajectory kind of started early out of school. I worked at United Way Worldwide, digital marketing manager there for a few years, then moved to under a wonderful team. One of the best kind of parts of my career, I got to work under Cynthia Round, worked with Ann Fox, Jim Yu, Edwin, a lot of the folks that are, still involved intimately with the United Way kind of community online. After UWW, I moved down to United Way of Greater Richmond in Petersburg. I was director of marketing there. So just the mission, the community work that we did in that community, in the area that I still live, is important to me. I still connect with some of my colleagues there. Just missed that realm of my life. And Cynthia Round reached out, kind of challenging a number of us to get involved. Towards the end of the year, it had been at the back of my mind, just seeing in LinkedIn kind of the space that this group cultivates for United Way professionals. And yeah, excited to just see what it offers. Again, get back into that group. Excited. And yeah, thanks for everyone's kind of help on onboarding this. It was wonderful timing, getting my membership in 2 days ago, and here I'm on the call. So it's great to see you all, and excited for Ann Fox next year. Paul, we worked at UWW at the same time a couple of years, so it's great to see that cohort of folks still involved in the network. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks. And I don't know who I'm supposed to kick it off to. Brandy, could I pass it over to you? Do you mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Brandy Rhodes Brooks. I was the marketing director at United Way of Lane County here in Oregon for quite a while, which really kicked off my love for collective impact. That was the first time I was really exposed more deeply to what that looked like. I was their marketing director during a time of transition where they were really looking at how our mission related locally and some pretty big shifts in that. When I left United Way, that mission for collective impact really carried with me. And I've joined several organizations that were doing kind of regional community building. Um, and then last year, I kind of ditched my day job and started consulting. And I just happened to get a text from a former United Way colleague who told me that United Way Next was expanding beyond just a retirement network and network to connect all of us who are passionate about the work. So I'm just getting involved and I'm excited to be back in the United Way kind of cohort and doing some of that work. So my company's Volt Strategies. I help folks with marketing strategy, but more than that, the tools and systems that they need to actually go from strategy to action. So I'm excited to be able to be working with a bunch of folks and getting to see all the good work that happens behind the scenes at these organizations that need support and are doing a lot of really incredible things. So excited to be here and learn more. With that, I'll kick it off to Marielle.
Thank you, Brandy. Please ignore my daughter in the background. She's jumping around. So I'm calling in. My name is Marielle Demoya. I am calling in from Knoxville, Tennessee. I used to work in United Way of Greater Knoxville. I was their Senior Director of Marketing and Communications. I'm so happy to see so many marketing people in this phone call. I've since September launched my own agency and focusing on small businesses and nonprofits. And just like you guys have all said, I'm here because I'm very passionate about the mission. I left United Way, but the mission and the vision that United Way has really moved me. And the more I learned how it really impacts the community, the more I still want to be a part of it. So I'm just here to get to know you guys and network a little bit, and that's it. So let me pass it over to Juliana Towns. Did I pronounce that correctly? I hope I did.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much, Marielle. I hope I pronounced your name too. All right. So, hello, everybody. My name is Juliana, and I just recently joined Granite United Way here in New Hampshire. So I am super new, just started in September, and I am the human resources generalist. So I'm excited to be here, continue learning more about United Way Worldwide, our framework, and ways that we can, the ways that we give back to the community. My background is all over the place, but I have worked in nonprofit before. I've worked for a community foundation back in Utah, where I grew up. And so I've been in many roles, including marketing, fundraising, and operations. I've been a director too of a small nonprofit before. So I do bring that background, and I'm currently working on my master's in human resources. So I've just joined this team. We're about 75 employees. It's, I think, one of the bigger United Ways in the US, possibly. And I'm excited to support our staff and to, again, learn more about United Way. I'll pass it on to Brian.
Thanks so much, Juliana. And as someone from New Hampshire, I hope you have a great time in Granite United Way. Born and raised in New Hampshire, worked with them a lot when I was doing City Year in Manchester as well. So heard that and was like, okay, that's fun. So hi, everyone. My name is Brian Tierney. Oh, go ahead, Juliana. I saw you come off mute.
Oh, I just said that's really cool. I'm actually in Manchester right now.
Oh, heck yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I loved living in Manchester for a year, working in the schools. It's a great place to be. Lots of great people. But little bit about me. My name is Brian Tierney. I'm calling in from lovely Golden, Colorado now. My United Way days are about 5 years past, but I was a member of the marketing and communications team at United Way Worldwide. Started as an AmeriCorps Vista member there, and eventually became the person that used to manage the website, sent the daily breakfast newsletter, also did a lot of webinars with Neil Parekh for the marketing and communications teams across the country. So it's really exciting to be back sort of with fellow United Way employees. Just the work that everyone was doing across the world was what inspired me to want to work at United Way. Started in network comms, worked with internal, a little bit of everything at Worldwide. It was a slightly tumultuous time, but I truly loved it because of the stories that we were lifting up across the world. Since United Way, I've worked at Amazon, both at AWS and Amazon IT Services as a comms manager. Then also, when I moved out here, I was working at the Colorado School of Mines, which is an amazing STEM school that everyone thinks is a private institution, but is actually one of the best public schools in Colorado. And at this point, I work at Comcast as an employee email specialist, working with frontline technicians sending emails. I actually am recently impacted by a lot of layoffs that Comcast is doing. So I am a lovely new addition to the searching for workforce. But overall, just really excited to be around some awesome people again. And Carole, I'm not sure if there's anyone to throw it to, but if anyone hasn't gone, I'm happy to throw it to them.
We'll go to Lori next, and then after Lori, we still have Trish, and then Alicia.
I'm Lori Elft. I'm from Neenah, Wisconsin. I worked for United Way Fox Cities for about 5 years, being a consultant. At the time, they didn't really have marketing, or they had some design, and I did a lot of their digital marketing. And then I worked through COVID. And then after COVID, but then they kind of switched hands and kind of went into a different direction. I've been freelancing with design and marketing consulting for about 25 years. So I've been always working with small nonprofits and medium nonprofits, and obviously I have other organizations within the community and beyond that I work with. So kind of my start was with the YMCA Fox Cities, and then I went through the whole rebrand with that worldwide. So then I became the brand supervisor of all of that for Five Wise. And then during that time, there was a big collaboration in our community with United Way. So that's kind of how I got introduced to United Way. And after I left the Y, I started freelancing full time. And so I thought I've had a couple people that I've started to connect with again. So it's been nice. So they encouraged me to try to join United Way What Next, to start, just networking, collaborating again, trying to get back into I don't know, the United Way and then what it stands for. So I'm kind of excited because it's always been, I'm off camera, near and dear to my heart. So I love working with nonprofits, and it just kind of always makes me feel good when I can help people. So I have a lot in the community that I still have as clients. So it's been kind of nice. So that's my story.
Thanks, Lori. I'm curious to know who referred you. Was it Josh Kilgis?
Josh,
O'Brien?
yeah.
Okay.
And I started talking with Benny now too, and she was now in Minnesota. So yeah, so it's been kind of nice, kind of reconnecting with all these people and trying to meet up. And so,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing all that. Trish, are you able to unmute so we can hear from you? There you go.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to leave the camera off for today. Just not a good day. No
Not
offense.
a problem.
Calling in from Blue Ridge, Georgia. My background, I worked for United Way of Greater Atlanta for 18 years, back in the Stone Age. After I left there, I went to Andar Software, which many of you probably are familiar with, listening to the names of the United Ways that you guys worked with. So I was there for 23 years. Back in January, I was sort of forcefully retired, and unexpectedly retired. But while I'd been toying with the idea of retiring for a while. Wasn't quite ready yet. So since then, I've been trying to pick up a few consulting, contracting type jobs. I'm kind of approached everything from a different direction than most everybody on the call. And when I was at, and sorry, I can't talk today. When I was with the United Way, I did work in pretty much every department. So I've had experience with the whole operation, but in the last 20 some years, I've been focused on software and data management type things. So that's really my area of expertise. So just looking for connections in that part of the operation to see how I can help and be involved still.
That sounds great, Trish. Thanks for sharing. We're so glad you're here. Alicia, are you good with going? I think you're our last one, unless I've missed someone.
I'm good. Thanks. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I was double dipping in meetings, but one, I'll say Carole invited me. It was a very, very persuasive invitation. So my journey, I heard a couple of New Englanders. I'm a Boston native, born and raised, and I recently relocated to Charlotte, North Carolina with my family. I'm a mother of three. I have two teenage boys and a 7-year-old girl. I'm very busy. And I started my United Way journey in 2008. I left Reebok. I had a completely different career in product marketing. My background's in marketing, and we had a campaign at Reebok, and I thought I was going to go and do marketing. And I interviewed, and they were like, "You're too qualified. You'll get bored here." And on my way out, I ran into someone who worked in community impact, and she told me about a development role doing some of the women's affinity work. And then I was there for 8 years. Specifically, my United Way superpowers are all around individual engagement, corporate partnerships, like really thinking holistically about how we engage corporations, not from a transactional way, but so I did that for 8 years. Then I left and went on to other nonprofits. I've been an executive director and I've been in senior leadership. And then they asked me to come back in 2022 to United Way, a second time around. Typically, I don't circle the block with relationships, but I did this time. And I was able to do some things before I decided to move here to Charlotte. And I ended my time there last year. And I launched my consulting firm. I specialize in, I think I heard someone say this earlier, working with small businesses, with nonprofits. And I had an NBA athlete, which was a wild card, but that was fun. But my main sweet spot is helping organizations have the right structure, their philanthropy strategy, helping organizations with culture and how to engage employees, and also how to take the work into the community. So whether that's individuals or corporate partnerships, how do we take the relationship with our organization to the next level? And lastly, right now, I serve as the Chief Strategy Officer for the Urban League of Central Carolinas as my day job, but I am a full-time consultant as well. So nice to meet everyone. I'm happy to be a member and be a part of this group. And hopefully I can share some of my United Way 10-year history at Mass Bay. I worked with Paul. Sorry, I forgot to say that earlier. My first time there, I worked with Paul. So I'm happy to see some familiar faces.
Yeah,
Well,
and
thank you guys.
I can say, Ivy, if I could just jump in, because this is full circle for me. So Alicia was on my team in Boston at United Way Mass Bay. Jason and I crossed paths while I was at Worldwide. And I also serve on the board of Granite United Way because I also live in New Hampshire now. And Juliana Towns is our most recent hire and first hire for professional HR person. They always contracted that role. And so this is a full circle for me, from Boston to Worldwide to New Hampshire and United Way Next. Everybody here is now part of the family. So excellent 360 for me here. Thanks.
Yeah.
I thought I
was gonna-
recognized.
Oh,
I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say I thought I recognized you, Paul.
We met very briefly at a board meeting. I know you were just like, 1 week into the job.
I was just going to quickly share that as somebody that's in marketing, and I'm sure that a lot of you guys that are in marketing and have been in marketing roles know that in United Way, we're kind of usually the ones behind the scenes while the campaigners and the CEOs are really out and about and doing all the things. And I don't think I've ever been on a call, at least with United Way Next or United Way in general, that there are this many marketing and communications professionals in the room. And Brian, I don't know if you were connected through Neil, but Neil was actually our marketing chair this year for United Way Next. So he led our work group, and I worked closely with him. So there's a lot of connections in this room. And I just have to say two things. One, if you guys are interested in consulting, I would highly recommend asking questions and getting involved in our consultant collaborative. We'll share a little bit more about that later. And two, if any of you guys that are interested in and or have previously worked in marketing, want to partner with me and volunteer on our work group, I will gladly accept the help. And then I will just go back to sharing the screen for you guys.
So I'm going to take it from here and talk a little bit about the slide deck that we've got for you all today. I know our interview or our introductions took a little bit of time, but I think it's so important because it really helps showcase how United Way Next is part of this connectivity, right? Like we are part of this network. So today we're going to cover a whole bunch of things. We're going to move pretty rapidly through this agenda, but we'd already talked about who we are, as individuals in this group and all of you. We'll talk more about United Way Next and what we're about, how we've grown, who we serve, what we offer, how we're structured, and where you can benefit. So who are we? So we've already talked about this, but I want to make it really clear, especially for Juliana, because you're new to this, or you're new to United Way. And I just want to mention that United Way Next is separate from United Way Worldwide. We are a standalone 501c3. Our community is designed intentionally as a former retirees association. We included our retirees, alumni, which are some of the people you see on the call today, and current staff. So for Juliana, you're a current staff at a United Way, you're considered that, right? So, and a few of you others maybe as well. Our United Way Next builds a diverse, inclusive community where we want former and current professionals to really feel that you have a place at the table, that you belong in this community. And for those of you who have left and you're coming back, it's feeling like you're at home. That's intentional, and we're hopeful that you feel good about that. We have nearly 500 members that are individuals like yourselves, but we also have nearly 200 organizational members. And the organizational members are the local United Ways. So we'll talk a little bit more about our other partners of ours, but I'll let Ivy go ahead and advance the slide. So what we're about. So we're all about personal and professional connections. It's about collaboration, continued impact, really working together. I'm not going to read all the words on this slide, but I think you already get a sense from this introduction time how woven and connected we are, right? We all come to this group with this affinity to the brand of United Way. But what really keeps us here are the people, and the people that you've met along the way, whether it's a connection to someone like Paul from years past when Alicia and Paul worked together, or a new connection back to, another United Way or a board member within this community. So we've got leadership development, mentorship, networking, all kinds of ways to get connected into United Way Next. And we'll talk about all of that yet today. So next slide, please. So we want to mention our history because we are in our 35th anniversary. And celebrating, and we've been celebrating since March of 25, and we'll continue through the end of March of 26. So we are formerly the Retirees Association. It was designed really in 1990 for anyone who ever worked for the United Way and had retired after a very long career. So back then, a lot of people stayed in the network and worked at multiple United Ways or went to Worldwide and then, back into their communities. Since then, we've really transformed into United Way Next, which we talked about at the beginning. That happened in 2022. It was around the time that they rebranded, renamed, that I was hired. So although I was aware of the Retirees Association as a CEO in the network, I was really excited about the new brand and the new name, in knowing that we were inclusive of all current and former professionals. Next slide. So I think Ivy's going to take it from here and talk a little more about our member segments.
Yep. So Carole had already kind of touched on this, but we currently serve United Way staff, alumni, and retirees. Like she mentioned, we did want to expand beyond just retirees. I found out about Next while I was working at Sioux Empire United Way, and that's really where I found my community, and then that's what led to my role here. I was happy to find out about it because we didn't talk about it as a resource in my local United Way. I kind of just stumbled upon one of our events in the Global Digest emails from United Way Worldwide, and that's how I got plugged in. So for current staff, that could be individual employees, local United Way teams, or state associations. And then alumni, that looks like a lot of the individuals that are working for other nonprofits, or maybe went into the corporate space, or some of you guys that went into consulting. And then we do have a lot of retirees, but we also have a lot of people that I believe are kind of like Tom, rewriting their career, of their, even Carole retired and then came back to work for United Way, so, or United Way Next. So there's a lot of people that kind of move back and forth between some of these segments, but that's the majority of who we serve and who we spend our time connecting with. Then what we offer, if you guys aren't members already, you don't have to be members for a lot of our offerings, but you do get extra benefits, which I know that Kirsten will kind of go into. But we have 35 plus virtual events and networking calls a year, a dedicated program to elevate and connect consultants. That is the consultant collaborative that I mentioned earlier. Personalized support when navigating career changes and life transitions. I think I already plugged that in the chat, but for some of you guys going through anything like that, we do have our next chapter chats, and we've got one with Benny, who somebody mentioned earlier, from Minnesota's, that will be speaking with us in December. We've got a private LinkedIn group with over, I think we're probably at 5180 members now. CEO, staff, endowment, planned giving, mentorship opportunities, whether you want to become a member, a mentor, or you need a mentor. And then we've rebranded and rebuilt our entire website. So that is something new where we're spotlighting members, contributions, recent articles, things like that. And then low-cost memberships for $35 as an individual or $100 as a local United Way. And then last, I will just go into how we are structured. So we only have 3 basically part-time employees. Carole works 30 hours, I work 32, and Kirsten works 15. We couldn't do this work at all without our volunteers. We've got 13 board members, 5 officers, and 1 emeritus member. We have 7 work groups made up of over 40 volunteers, and then we have 17 CEO and staff mentors and 21 planned giving faculty members. And then I will hand it over to Kirsten.
Thanks, Ivy. So I'm going to share a little bit more about the benefits for both individuals as well as local United Ways. I think most everyone on the call is here as an individual member. Juliana, I think you're here on behalf of your local United Way. So Ivy ran through a couple of these already when she was talking about what we offer. But I did really want to highlight that, in my personal opinion, the biggest benefit of United Way Next is the people. I think earlier on the call, as we were introducing ourselves, you really got a sense of just the vast breadth and depth of the knowledge within our community. And I think a lot of the benefit of this organization is really that. So you get to access that by attending things like our professional development events. Those you can attend live or they are recorded. So if you're not able to attend, it doesn't work with your schedule. We do have a full a full access to that on our website that you can check into those later. There are also, if you feel so called to serve, opportunities to be a mentor or a consultant or an interim executive. And if you're seeking a mentor, someone to help you along with your journey, we can also provide those connections as well. A couple of you had mentioned things like you're rewiring your career or you're in that period of transition. Our next chapter chats are going to be perfect for you to help you along in that journey. I don't know when our next chapter chat is off the top of my head. Maybe next year, probably in 2026 will be our next one, but we'll be sure to include information about that in the follow-up. And then we have access to a lot of other exclusive resources and things either on our website, and then we have our online groups as well to connect. I'll move over onto the local United Way benefits. So as a local United Way, I know that there'll probably be some people who are listening to this afterwards, but you can access mentorship for anyone on your staff. So if you are a CEO and you're looking for some coaching, we can help connect you with a coach or an advisor, or if you have somebody on your team that you would like to connect with a mentor as well, we can help you with that. Again, all of our professional development learning sessions are open to current United Way staff who are members of United Way Next, as well as our alumni and retirees, as well as we have a series of planned giving professional development sessions that I think is really helpful for individuals who are focused on that area. And again, just the connection to our community of people with in-depth knowledge, historical perspectives, and experience is just really, I think, a huge benefit for local United Ways as well. Carole, is there anything else that you'd like to add for local United Way benefits?
Yeah, so the last thing I'll just share is if your United Way was in a leadership transition, which, none of you probably are really representing United Ways except Juliana at this point, but if there was a leadership transition, which there will never be because Nicole will never leave Granite United Way, right? We do have interim executive professionals who can serve. And Tom mentioned this in his introduction that he's recently gone through the Interim Executive Academy. So for individual members, one of the benefits is you can receive a 30% discount to do the academy. We're not pitching that to you to say you're going to go off and become an interim and get a viable income source from it. But a lot of times people who do consulting actually want to learn and have extra professional development with tools in the toolbox, and they can use that as a source of a resource for when they go in and are working with different nonprofits. And the Interim Executive Academy doesn't just place professionals in the United Way system, they would place professionals anywhere across the country. So if you're working or volunteering with any organization and they're having a leadership transition at the CEO level or the Chief Development Officer role, we would be able to help make the introduction to that academy group and to the professionals that are prepared to do the work in those interim roles. So that's the only other thing I think I would share.
Thanks, Carole. All right, I think we have a little exercise for you. So if you could type what you're most excited for as a potential benefit with your membership into the chat for us.
Mentorship, awesome.
Love it. I was thinking that for you, Juliana, that your team would benefit. And we've already placed some mentors through Nicole. I've made some connections for her, for some of your team members. So that's great. Volunteer opportunities, staying connected, relationships, connections, networking, learning. That's great. Networking opportunities. Yeah, these are great. Love it, love it, love it. And this is exactly, what we're all about. So thank you for sharing all that.
Awesome.
I also, when I look around the room today, I just want to say how proud I am to see so many, what I will call next generation leaders and alumni that are representing our community. You are the faces of our future. I mean, you are the next generation. And so as we think about the people who have been in our organization for many years, they are excited to see that you're here, and we're super excited that you're a part of the work that we're doing. So, Ivy, I'm going to let you take it from here. I'm not sure we're at the end. Okay, perfect.
Yep. So this is our last slide, and then we can go into Q&A and talk more about those things that you guys are excited about, and some of them are linked here. I know some of you guys said that you were interested in either volunteering or becoming a mentor or even getting a mentor. So if you guys aren't members already, there is a link for you guys in the slide deck. I'll make sure all of these links are in the follow-up email that I send with the slide deck as well for you guys. There is the link for the upcoming events. We have 2 left after today for this year. On December 3rd is our next chapter chat with Benny. And then on the 11th is our 35th anniversary social hour with Paul DeBassio and Ann Fox, our board chairs. And then all of our member resources are going to be linked so you can learn more about mentorship, consultant collaborative, next chapter chats, all of that stuff will be there as well. Our 35th anniversary challenge, I know that Paul and Carole can speak more to that, but if you wanted to participate in sharing somebody that helped you feel like you belonged in the United Way Next or United Way family, you can do so either through like a tribute or a social media campaign, things like that. And then we'd love for you guys to get involved with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And then we do have, for members, a private group on Facebook, and for any professional, alumni, retiree, a group on LinkedIn where you guys can also ask for resource sharing. And some people share open positions that are currently either for local United Ways or even just other nonprofits that the alums have gone on to work for. So we'd love for you guys to get connected that way so you can continue meeting new people, potentially find job opportunities, and just continue connecting amongst us. Otherwise, if anyone, Carole, Kirsten, Paul, you had anything else to add to this slide, feel free. Otherwise, I will take it down.
I think you can take it down and we can open it up. There probably will be a lot of questions and just even feedback, right? So we're happy to just open it up and see where we go from here. And that was a lot. So like we know this stuff intimately because we live and breathe it every day, but please feel free if you have questions and you want to ask, or even just immediate feedback. Some of you I know have been involved for a little bit of time, so you've already had a chance to kind of connect with me and others or participate in a professional development session. So if you have any thoughts around that, we're happy to listen and hear more.
And if no one wants to take the grenade, as Tom had put it earlier, if any of you guys do have to hop off for like a meeting in the next 15 minutes or so, just know like we thank you for showing up and we completely understand. You don't have to worry about it. You'll still get the recording at the end. So feel free to like drop in questions and dip if you need to.
No, thanks for you all putting this on. The degree to which you clearly work together to curate something like this is wonderful for the new members. I think that there's just the shift in the last 3 years to opening it up to professionals existing and and retirees alike is a wonderful change. I don't think that kind of zeal or that affinity for the brand or the impact that it creates in our communities ever gets lost. And it sometimes you need it more than ever to get pulled back into it. That's at least, how I felt when my former boss reached out and encouraged it. Cynthia is an incredible individual in that realm of getting people charged around United Way. So no, I just want to thank you all. I'll keep my ears open, going to register for some of the upcoming events. Thanks for curating this today. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Excited for the next steps.
Thank you, Jason. And I would just say this, Jason, I would challenge you, as Cynthia challenged you to join, right? That you think of all your other friends that she didn't, that maybe were extensions of your team members or other colleagues across the network who you got to know in your role, to think about inviting them to join next as well, because it really takes all of us together to help spread the word and share the information. And I think they would be as equally as excited about it as you are. And I'm as equally excited to hear you share what you did. So thanks.
Yeah, likewise. No, I'll take that to heart. Didn't realize, I didn't think I'd be here even on Monday, and look where I'm at. So taking some steps, they all feel natural. It feels really comfortable to get back into this space with these kind of passionate individuals. I'd be curious, I guess, to understand sort of ways through next if my local United Way is not already a member or has that membership, if there's mechanisms by which I can support them through that, or is it more of a really an online based kind of collaboration space, the consultation work, the volunteerism? Is that if you find it locally, is it happenstance and luck that you land that way, or is this a conduit for me to get back into my local United Way? I'm curious about like either success stories in that realm or.
Yeah, so I'm happy to answer that. So, you know, I work closely with local United Ways. And so, you know, I guess what I would say to that, if anyone on the screen has an interest in reconnecting to a local United Way that you say, I want to connect with them for volunteer opportunities, or I'm interested in just talking with them to see what they're up to, I can help make that warm and a reintroduction, right? And United Ways are calling on us on a regular basis. So thinking of United Way Worldwide and the state associations as resources in the network, we equally are now viewed as a valued resource, but we are a smaller piece of the puzzle because we have limited capacity and only can really focus in on certain areas, but we've really honed in on them the last 3 years. So we know which work we do, we know which work Worldwide is working on, and we try to always make sure we make the appropriate handoffs and introductions and make those connections, even with peer-to-peer connections across the country. So, you know, Juliana, I know you were going to maybe ask a question about mentorship, but I want to mention this because a lot of you mentioned mentorship, right? All of you could choose to volunteer as mentors. And then we put you on the roster of mentors, and it could be for a specific area of interest. Some of you might say, I'm really good at marketing, and I would love to help and talk with marketing professionals at a local United Way, or even alumni who are at another nonprofit. And that could be a role that you choose to play. When a United Way reaches out to me and says, hey, we need someone to help mentor someone, it's not ever usually about like there's a troubled employee and we're trying to figure out how to help them develop because they're on their way out. These are professionals that are developing in their careers that have been identified for succession planning for the next step up, or they're new into the network and they're really trying to find ways to help them build and develop their expertise around fundraising, community impact, marketing, you name it. Even financial management, CFOs are looking for other CFOs to connect with. So we've been really active in that space, and our mentorship program has really blossomed the last 3 years. And that's equally as impactful with our planned giving area. So the 22 people who volunteer and solely focus on planned giving, they don't dabble in other types of mentorship. That's what they're focused on. And we've kept them very busy with feasibility studies that they do pro bono for the network and have done pro bono in the last few years. And then with our consultant collaborative, that's really opened up a whole new area of opportunity. So for those who are consulting and say, hey, I really want to get noticed in the network, being in the collaborative, which comes at a cost, and some of you are already in there. So Robin and Brandy, I think Alicia's thought about it. Marielle's joined as a consultant. Paul's a consultant. Tom came to the kickoff and decided, yeah, maybe not for me, but I want to be a member of Next, right? So thinking about the collaborative, that's where when the United Ways reach out and say, we're looking to pay someone to do work with us. We need a professional to come in and do strategic planning consulting or board leadership development. That we take all those leads now and put them in the collaborative and give that opportunity to the consultants first. If there's no consultant who can handle the request, then we would come back to the membership to say, are there members that actually can help with this? And the only example I would share about that would be if someone needs a fractional CFO, which is a pretty specialized body of work, there may only be 3 people in the consultant collaborative who can do that. And if they're currently busy or unavailable, then we wouldn't have anyone to provide that resource to the network. So we're really working closely with them. So Jason, I would love to know you don't have to share this necessarily now, but like which United Ways you want to connect with and how I can help make that happen for you as a member of Next.
Thank you. That's wonderful. I appreciate you expanding on that. Yeah, I'd just be curious to know which United Ways in Virginia and within 150 miles of me, or even, have memberships, being able to sponsor that for them to get their staff into this
Yeah.
this space. Not something I'll take any more time on with this group, but I appreciate you expanding on that. And yeah, and I'll reach out outside of this to
Yeah. I'll
take.
touch base with you. I can include in the follow-up the link to our website that shows which United Ways are supporting, because they are prominently listed on our website. And then all of you would have that as a resource to say, these are the United Ways. And I love the idea that you would sponsor them for $100. They can get involved. A lot of United Ways are still learning about us. With leadership transitions, you can imagine, I mean, even myself, I'm constantly checking in with the ones who are members to make sure they remember that they're connected to us already. So I see Alicia's hand, and then, we want to make sure we're mindful of your time. So Alicia will go next, and then we'll see if we've got time for another one or two questions.
I think one of the things that you and I had talked about when we first connected, when it comes to the mentorship, but also just thinking about how we lift up the network. And I can speak for myself as a Black woman who's been in the system for 10 years, right? I don't meet a lot of Black women in development, first of all. And I've stayed in this space because I wanted to, the power of your presence is a thing. And so being in development roles has been my way of giving back. But I also, there are different struggles and barriers, even within the United Way system. And so a part of, if it's not formal, what I want to be able to, how I want to give back to this community is through being able to support specifically Black women, only because that resource just doesn't exist. And then I mentor all women, right? But I do think that there's something there as it relates to the United Way network, and also helping them to navigate through. So like, you may not stay at the United Way in your hometown, but the United Way in New Orleans is hiring or something, and they want to attract a certain talent, and there's a certain skill set that you bring to it, and specifically with program staff moving over to development. So that is something I'm very passionate about. So if you come across anyone here, colleagues or staff that are looking for that, that is something I'm very passionate about.
I really appreciate you sharing that. I will tell you, I've had 2 women of color who specifically asked for someone like you, and we were able to make that happen and that placement. But for the retention of talent, I think it's incredibly important that we acknowledge that about 70% of the United Ways are led by women, and that the percentage of people of color leading United Ways is a very low percentage. And so that's, we want to see more people of all colors succeed and be successful in their roles. And so having mentors that they see themselves when they're working with someone, I think that's incredible. So thank you for sharing that.
And really quickly, I know Lori has her hand up, but we also are, I know that I look like a generic white able-bodied woman, but I am also neurodivergent, and I am disabled. And so we are very big in the United Way Next community of just our community commitment to DEIAB. From a marketing lens and an events lens, I really try to make sure that we are diverse, inclusive, and accessible. But I know that I am a part of something that you might also be interested in addition to us having a DIB work group that you could be a volunteer in. There is a DEI, not professionals, but DEI practitioners network through the United Way worldwide that just allows people that work in the DEIB space or are interested in doing some of the work that you just mentioned, that you can connect on those. I think they are calls every other month, and then they also do their own personal and professional webinars as well that I attend. So if you're interested in getting connected with them to see if there's some opportunity for you there, I am more than happy to connect you. And you also might feel like that's a good space for you, because I know for me, I am one of the only white women on that call. So that is something that is a little bit more diverse than some of the other places that you might find in the network.
Thanks, Ivy, for sharing all that. Lori?
Yeah, I'm also really interested in trying to collaborate. I do have a lot of nonprofits that I do help, but how does that work? If you find somebody that needs help or volunteer, is it like if it's not in Wisconsin, right? I can't locally. I know our United Way is set like for marketing and design and fundraising. They kind of just revamped their team, but I guess I'm wondering, like, so do you set people up and then you just kind of meet over Zoom, or do you have to be like locally where you have to travel to their, organization to help?
So Lori, you broke up a little bit. I just want to clarify, is
Oh,
this
sorry.
for mentorship that you're asking, or like even the consultant collaborative?
Both. I mean, I wouldn't mind
Yeah.
mentorship. Yeah. And then like if it could turn into more to help smaller nonprofits. I mean, I've been on boards. I'm currently on a marketing committee where I'm helping launch a capital campaign. So that's a lot of work. So I mean, I do have a lot of background in everything, but yeah, I would love to like be able to reach out more and just how that works and how many hours do you have to give, or is it just kind of what you have time for? But I just would
Yeah.
like to, yeah, just more about that kind of thing.
So great questions. The first is that everything is really done virtually at this time. So if a
Okay.
United Way did hire a consultant and they were going to pay them to work with their United Way, there may likely be a travel stipend, and that's included in part of the scope of work that you would provide to them if you were in the collaborative and you were going forward with a project or a contract with them. So that could all be negotiated, right? And in some cases, United Ways are going to say, we need you here. But when
Okay.
from our lens, we're looking at anybody who's mentoring our plan giving faculty when they're working with boards and they're doing presentations, it's all done virtually at this time. So really the commitment for a mentor is that you would have 1 hour per month that you would be available to be the mentor for that mentee. And I take discovery calls with the United Way. So I use Juliana's group as an example. I met with their CEO first. She then identified a couple of the staff that she felt were ready for mentoring, and specifically in their area of expertise. I then went and found mentors that agreed to work with them based on like some of the information that was shared by Nicole, but I also met with the staff. So I knew their personalities. So when I made that mentorship connection, I had a sense for who they were, what they were looking for, and then was able to make the warm introduction. From there, the mentor and mentee kind of own the responsibility to have their first one-on-one, talk through the goals that they want to set. I encourage people to meet 3 times so that they get at least 3 1-hour sessions together. If it's every other week, it's once a month, it's, every other month, that's fine. But from there, people often tend to go to every other month and once a quarter. I've taken on several mentorship assignments, and that's what's really worked best, because if people don't feel as connected to you and they're only meeting like once a quarter, it's not enough to really help them have an impact, on whatever it is they're looking for. And we create these mentorship opportunities thinking about it's a safe space, they can share their challenges, and you're not tied to their team. You're not on their team, you're not in their community, you're not a neighboring United Way, and you're maybe not in their state. So it's even better that it's virtually across the country, because people are talking to people all over the world. So, all over the country, which is really great. So we do have some international members, so that and we're attracting more local United Ways from different parts of the country, which is really exciting that we're getting that kind of exposure as well. Did that help, Lori?
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it very much. I just was kind of wondering how it all works. So
yeah, we try to make it as inclusive as possible so all can participate. Yes.
Carol,
Perfect.
mine is just real quick. Thank you so much. I appreciate that connection a lot to Granite United Way. Just quick question about our employees. So I'm thinking about onboarding new staff in the future and how I can get them more connected to all the resources. So just curious, what is the best way for current staff to plug in?
So Ivy, do you want to, I see you nodding. I'll let her answer this first. Oops, you're on mute, Ivy.
That is something that I have really wanted to get more involved with the local United Ways, is kind of creating like a one-pager for you guys for both onboarding and offboarding, where you can say, hey, as a United Way employee, this is a resource for you. You are like qualified to participate in anything as a current employee or just under the membership of the local United Way. And then for some that might be offboarding, like if they are retiring or even if there's budget cuts or anything, like you can say, hey, for $35, like even if you wanted to cover the membership for their first year, just say, this is a resource. We'd encourage you to do next chapter chats because they can help with the transition and things like that. So my goal is really to get you guys just an easy doc that when you have those like in-person employees, you can just include it in their little welcome packet and hand it to them, or even a PDF that you can give them for anyone that might be like a virtual consultant or anything like that, or contractors. So that is definitely something that I want to get out and ready for you guys. So if there's anything that you can think of that you definitely want on it, like I'm happy to build it for you.
That's excellent. I really like the idea of having it available for onboarding and offboarding as well as a resource. Thank you. I'll share any ideas as they come up.
Sounds great. Thanks, Juliana. Well, we know that we're a little bit past time, but we want to make sure that you all get what you came for today. So if there's anyone else who has one last question, we're happy to take it. And then from there, we can wrap things up. All right, no other questions. Well, Brian, I'm going to say it was great to see you today. I was thinking of you early this morning, so I'm glad that you were able to attend. And to the rest of you, I'm so pleased to see all of you join. And for those who hopped off already, thank you, thank you, thank you. And for the people who didn't make it, we had 22 people registered today, so we know there's going to be people listening to this afterwards. We're sorry you didn't make it to the live session. If there's anything we can do to help you along the way, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself, to Ivy, or to Kirsten. We're here to serve, and we look forward to seeing you at our next United Way event. I really want to plug our social hour with Paul DeBassio and Ann Fox on December 11th, which will just be a fun social time. So if you've got some free time that day, come and see some old friends, new friends, make some connections, and I think you'll have a really meaningful time. So with that, is there anything else, Ivy, Kirsten, or Paul, that you wanted to share?
The only other thing that I was going to mention is when you guys do end this call, there is going to be like a 3-question survey. If you wouldn't mind filling it out, it just kind of helps us know that we are on the right track. We're providing what you guys are expecting, and we just can make our events better for you guys. And then just one final shout out to our event programming sponsor, Front Stream, and to Mutual of America.
Thanks, Ivy. Thanks, everybody. Great to
Happy
see you.
Thanksgiving,
Nice
everyone.
Thanksgiving.